Hi, everyone. My name is Jessica. I'm a health fitness program manager over at Miter and McLean, and I'm here today to guide you through an awesome yoga practice that is intended to just increase your total body relaxation. We're going to find some stretches of the total body. If you are feeling tight, if you find that you typically enjoy using some props, some blocks, or some straps in your yoga practice, I encourage you to just keep those things nearby. If you don't happen to have any actual props, but you find that you need some support, I encourage you to now go ahead and get a towel that you can roll up to find a little bit of support the same way that you could with a block. If you don't happen to have a strap, but you have a t-shirt that you can use, the long sleeves of a t-shirt or a towel, have one of those nearby. Always better to just have whatever you might need. And if you don't need it, great. And if you do need it, it's right there. You don't have to feel uncomfortable. You don't have to totally come out of the stretch or start searching when the time is right. All right, so as you're ready, go ahead and come down, find a comfortable seated position of your choice, sitting in Sukhasana, easy posture. I like to have my legs in very close. My hips are a little tight, surprisingly. You might not believe it as they look very open, but please remember that every day is different. Everyone's body is different, and you're just going to do the best that you can with the body that you have today, whatever it is that that looks like. If you find yourself sitting here in easy pose and your knees are coming all the way up towards your chest, think about already bringing that prop into play. Lifting your hips up slightly can help you to relax and release those knees down towards the floor. Already starting to find some opening in those hip flexors. I'll stay up here because I'm here. It feels nice. All right, so let's take a couple minutes to just come into our breath, come into your focus of why it is that you came to class today. Perhaps setting an intention for your practice. That sounds weird to you. Don't worry about it. Maybe your intention is just to take as deep a breath as possible for this next hour. Maybe you have some place, someone, something that you want to send some energy out to. Maybe you're truly here just to refill your own personal cup. Whatever it is that brought you to your mat, to this space today, take the time right now to focus in on your breath. Feel free to even close your eyes. If you do decide to have your eyes open, find one soft spot that you can relax your gaze. Just taking some time within this breath, slowing it down, just noticing on your inhale how your body is feeling, awareness. Take a moment with your lungs full at the top, belly full, and then exhale. Get all of the stale air out. Just let it go. Work to cool down your breath by breathing in through your nose and then exhaling out through your nose or mouth, whatever feels most comfortable for you today. But see how quiet can you make your breath. Perhaps you've already started to practice a little ujjayi breathing, a slight constriction on the back of your throat by simply pressing your tongue up onto the roof of your mouth. Just a couple more moments here, starting off the new year, starting off this practice, just focused on ourselves, on our breath, just being so grateful, so kind to yourself for making this time in your day. Beautiful. On your next inhale, ground your sit bones, stretch up through the crown of your head. And on your exhale, gently tuck that chin towards your chest. Squeeze those shoulder blades together to keep that chest lifted. Maybe your hands, palms even draw a little bit closer towards your hips. Your elbows can stretch behind you. Find some engagement, keep that lift of your upper body, but work to get into the stretch of your neck right here. So looking down at the floor in front of you, maybe looking down at your heels, maybe looking at your chest. Shoulder blades down and back, and then towards each other as if you're trying to pinch a pencil. Enjoy one more deep inhale, and on your exhale, drop that right ear to your right shoulder. Gonna stay really nice and gentle in our stretch to begin with. Take a big breath here on your next exhale. Bring that chin back down towards your chest. Stay here for a full cycle of breath. And then use that next inhale to bring your left ear to that left shoulder. Still working to keep that chest open, that back engaged, gently pulling your belly button back towards your spine. And then on your next exhale, bring your chin back down towards your chest. Now moving within your breath. So inhaling, bringing ear to shoulder. Staying in the front side of our bodies. Exhale, bringing chin to chest. Inhale, ear to opposite shoulder. Exhale, chin to chest. If you find a spot that feels really sticky or uncomfortable, feel free to take an extra moment there, just holding into your stretch, maybe even bringing your fingertips up towards your neck to help you relax out any tension that you might be feeling. Also, just continuing to use that breath, inhaling in the awareness, just noticing where the stretch is, and using that exhale to let it go to help relieve the tension. Finish off even Steven. So make sure you end on the opposite side in which you started. If we started together, that's going to be on your left side. And then once more, bringing your chin down towards your chest on your exhale. And then inhale, lifting it back up. Awesome. Let's start to get those arms moving just a little bit. Beautiful. So inhale, both arms up overhead. And then exhale, simply stretch out and relax them down towards the side. Two more times, just like that. Inhale up overhead. I'm turning my hands, palms forward as I inhale up. Exhale, palms are starting to face down towards the floor. Last time, both ranges of motion. Inhale up. Still working to squeeze those shoulder blades together and pull your belly in. Exhale down. And we're going to finish with our hands up towards the ceiling. So use one more inhale, stretch up. Go ahead, stretch those thumbs towards the back of the room. Notice if you brought your shoulders all the way up towards your ears and see if you can relax and release a little bit of space there. Pull your belly in nice and tight. We're going to relax our right hand down towards the floor. Inhale, stretch up through the left hand. And then switch. Inhale, both hands up. Exhale, relax. Left hand down towards the floor. Just continue to work with your breath. No pressure on when you're inhaling and exhaling, just making sure that you actually are still breathing. If it feels good for you, you can bend that elbow. If you're not sitting on a block and it's accessible, you can bring that whole forearm down to the floor. Get in just a couple more on each side. Last one on each side. Make sure you finish up on the opposite side. So finishing up, if we started together with that left hand down on the floor, and then inhaling both arms up overhead. I'm going to come off of my block. We're going to add in some nice little twists here. So both arms are going to move at the same time. Once again, relax and release those shoulders away from your ears. Pull your belly in, ground your sit bones, head stacked over heart. We're going to bring those left hand fingertips forward as the right hand fingertips come down and back. You can even bring them down towards the floor. Inhale up towards the ceiling. Exhale. Take your time and slowly turn that head on that exhale. Inhale back up to center. Exhale, twist. Inhale to center. Exhale, twist. Starting to feel a little bit warmer. I'm using my forearm, inhale to center, to gently press against my shin to help me engage my back. Twist just a little bit deeper. Inhale to center. Exhale, twist. We're going to go ahead and get one more on each side. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist. Last one. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist. Let's be kind to ourselves. Inhale those hands up. Exhale them all the way down towards the side. Go ahead and walk them forward. Keep your sit bones grounded. Just going to find a nice little stretch here. Begin to walk forward with your chest lifted, with the hinge forward at your hips, especially if you're having any pain in your lower back. You want to eliminate that rounding. So you can stay right here, applying pressure with your fingers onto the floor, keeping that chest lifted. If your sit bones are still in contact with the floor and it feels good for you, once you've found that forward hinge, you can melt a little bit more towards the floor, allowing that chin to come towards your chest, and just take a couple of nice big breaths right here. If you did take this forward fold, switch from that big breath being down in your diaphragm to feeling your inhale helping to expand your back body, even creating a little extra space between each of those ribs. Whether you folded forward or stayed lifted, we're going to walk gently over to the right side, making sure that you still have that left sit bone in the floor. So you can even push through your hand palm, applying a little bit more pressure through this right hand. Did I say left? While you still keep that, yeah, I'm right, left sit bone grounded to the floor. Take your time, walk yourself back to center, and then over to the left. Press through your left hand palm. You can even place your right hand palm on top of it. Press through that right glute to the floor. You can even stretch one shoulder forward, just creating that stretch that feels good for your body today. And then gently release, walk yourself back to center, lift yourself up. We're going to take some nice big shoulder stretches now. So go ahead, inhale those arms up towards the ceiling. And exhale, rain those fingertips down towards your shoulders. Nice work. So stretching those elbows down towards the floor to begin with. Notice if you have an extra arch in your back. I know I did just now. So grounding those sit bones, doing your best to stack your ears on top of your shoulders on top of your hips. And now we're going to find some rounding of the spine. So inhale, stretch those elbows forward, tuck your chin towards your chest, bringing that lower rib a little closer towards your hip. Continue with that big inhale, stretch those elbows up towards the ceiling. And then as you start to exhale, they go back behind you. Slowly finish that breath with them down towards the floor. Moving a little bit faster. Lower rib comes towards your hips. Inhale forward and up. Open those elbows back. Exhale and down. Beautiful. Inhale forward, up, get that back moving as much as feels good. Exhale, down. Two more, forward, up, making sure those sit bones are still grounded. Exhale, down. Last one in this direction, forward, up, exhale, down. All right, hang out here in this down. So elbows stretching down towards your hips, really finding that big rounding of your back, the same as you would in cat pose. It feels so good. All right, so this time instead of inhaling forward, we're gonna inhale back. Start to lift your head, chin, chest, up. Exhale, forward, down. Beautiful. Inhale, back. Up, go at your own pace. Exhale, forward, down. My back is really tired and sore. It feels so good to go nice and slow, to still be working with that really slow breath. Last two times around. I kind of lost count. I don't know if that was one or two. So we'll finish up right here. As those elbows come on down, go ahead, release those fingers down towards the floor. Lift yourself up one more time. We're going to take another nice stretch of the neck. So hands can be wherever it feels good for you. Option to increase the intensity of the neck stretch this time. So sit bones are grounded. Once again, find the stacking head over heart over hips. Take a deep inhale, stretch up. Relax and release shoulders away from your ears, shoulder blades squeeze together, seated down your spine, and exhale, right ear to right shoulder. You can even bring your right hand fingertips to the floor and gently walk them away. If you're looking to feel an even bigger stretch, you can lift those fingertips off the floor, get your tricep involved slightly. That's where I feel it, at least. As you press through your right hand palm, feeling it big time in my sore tricep, starting to feel it in my upper back. You can, oh, you know why? Because I meant to have you walk your opposite hand away. Jessica, it's okay. Okay. You must have been like, this girl's crazy. Okay, so we have our right ear towards our right shoulder, and our left hand fingertips are walking away, and that's helping to increase the stretch. Now we're going to press through that hand palm, feeling it a little bit less in the tricep. You can inhale your right hand up towards the ceiling and bend at the elbow, allowing that elbow to hang heavy down towards the floor. Slow that breath down. Make sure you didn't come into a stretch that's so deep that your breath became shallow. You can always take a step back. You can always release those fingers down towards the floor or not have your fingers on your head. If you do have your hands on your head, I want you to walk your fingers towards the back of your neck. Tuck your chin slightly towards your chest. And just notice how starting to stretch your elbow a little bit more forward or out towards the side instead of down just changes that stretch on your neck. And then one more time, I just want you to release your fingers down towards the floor, look up towards the ceiling. One more deep inhale. On your exhale, gently change. Release that chin back towards your chest. Both fingers down on the floor. Pull that belly in, engage your back. Take a deep inhale. And on your exhale, drop your left ear to your left shoulder. You can walk your right hand fingertips away. You can keep those fingers on the floor, just creating more of a stretch through the right side of your neck, or lift them up, just make it a little bit more challenging. If you're still not feeling enough of a stretch, inhale the left arm up towards the ceiling, bend at the elbow, fingers come close towards the top of your ear as you allow that elbow to hang heavy down towards the floor. Keep that breath slow. Keep that belly in tight. Take one more super slow breath here. And as you finish that exhale, you can walk your fingers towards the back of your head. Start to stretch your elbow a little bit forward to the side as you look down. You're looking down in the direction of your right hip. One more deep inhale. Release your fingers from the top of your head. So stretch your left hand up towards the ceiling, release it down towards the floor, and then look up towards the ceiling. Ah, so good. And change slowly, gently use that exhale, bring that chin down towards your chest. And then inhale, lift it up. Go ahead, bring your hands behind you. We've been sitting in our easy pose of choice for a little while. So, gently begin to windshield wipe those legs right and left. And come into some focus of stretching of that lower half now. You might want to start walking those heels in a little bit closer because next up we've got deer pose. So your goal here in deer pose is you're going to get the sole of one foot to the top of the opposite leg's inner thigh. Oh my gosh, I'm so tight. I don't know about you. All right, so you can lean as much as you need to into your first leg, which is coming into some sort of a 90-degree angle, and your second leg is coming into maybe a 90-degree angle as well. You have a couple different options with how you're going to finish up the stretch in your back leg, which right now is my right leg. I have my left leg towards the front, depending on how you want to feel the stretch. And remember, everyone's body is different. So see what feels good for you today. You're working to gently relax and release this right hip slowly towards the floor. I find that having my leg a little bit further out in 290 degrees, I feel this big time throughout the side glute and then onto the top of the quad a little bit. It's a big stretch in my hip flexor. By bringing this foot in a little bit more, I focus more on the quad stretch that's happening here. So just find what feels good for you today. We're going to spend 1 minute right here, nice and lifted. And then we're gonna have an option to add in a little bit of a forward fold to make this stretch a little bit deeper. So we've got about a total of 2 minutes. This is our first real bout of stillness. We're coming into outside of our opening Sukhasana. So just try to find the stretch that you can be still in where your breath is still relaxed. Even if that means that you have to keep your hands on the side, even if that means that your glutes nowhere near the floor. Maybe you even took your folded up strap and you put that under your bum so that you just have a little bit more support. All right, if it feels good for you, it's going to hit a little bit more in those hip flexors. I'm feeling it a lot more in the quad by hinging forward. Remember, be kind to that back. So make sure that you're not rounding forward like we had done a moment ago with our shoulder warm up, but you're literally hinging forward. So bringing that belly a little bit more towards your thighs, moving really cautiously. That's going to help the back to continue to feel good. Ooh. If it feels good for you and you want to add in a little bit of a spine twist in whichever direction feels right for your body, it's a lot easier to turn towards this left side than it is to turn towards this right side. All right, if you found a twist, slowly, gently use that exhale to untwist. Bring your hands behind you. We're once again going to send those knees up towards the ceiling, bringing the soles of the feet down towards the floor, and come into your delightful windshield wiping. As deep or as wide as you want to. You can even roll gently on towards the sides of your hips. You know what feels good for your body today. This is a little free moment for you to bring it just in case it hasn't already been forgotten. Okay, so this time we're going to drop our legs to the opposite side. So take a moment, once again, find what feels good for you. Remember, both sides of the body are not the same. So this stretch might have seemed really challenging on the other side, but might be super accessible on this side or vice versa. Option, once again, to really work to keep this 90-90 with your legs, feeling it a lot in that outer glute into the hip with the 90-90, feeling it more in the quad. Maybe even it starts to apply a little pressure towards the knee when you fold that foot in. If your glute's nowhere near the floor, put something back there that you can sit on. We'll spend 1 minute just working to find some breath right here. Ooh, you know, it feels good. Taking a little side stretch here. Just find a place where you can be still for 1 minute, where you can still enjoy a big breath. Find what feels good for your body today. Feel free to be a little creative. I'm just guiding you through your practice. I want you to know that I show up to other classes and they can do whatever they want to do. Sometimes, you know, you just want to get in child's pose. Sometimes we start a stretch and it inspires you like, oh gosh, it feels so good right now. Go for it. I don't mind. I'm just so happy to see other people enjoying themselves, finding that movement, or in this case, hopefully finding a little stillness, finding the stretch that works for your body today. All right, if you want to come into some sort of a twist here for that last minute, it's easier to turn and twist towards the leg that you have in front, a little bit more challenging to turn and twist towards the leg you have in the back. If you came into that twist, make sure that you do still have as straight of a spine as possible, that that chest is nice and open, not collapsed, that you're finding some support by pulling your belly in as well. Awesome. Enjoy that big exhale. Bring those hands behind you. We're going to once again windshield wipe those legs right and left. Oh, start to stretch them forward because next up we have caterpillar. Oh my gosh, I'm so sore. Even just rolling around on the floor right here is feeling amazing through my hips and glutes. Tucking my t-shirt into my pants because that's what winners do. All right, so next up we've got caterpillar. You might have already seen me do a couple things that I think make it easier to come into the stretch. So you know what? I'm going to start again, just in case you're feeling really tight today. So we came and we extended our legs out in front of us. And I recognize that this can already be very challenging for many people, especially if you're feeling really tight in your hamstrings. And that might also be affecting your lower back. When this is tight, and we're working to loosen everything up. So a couple options that you have are taking a bend in your knees and finding a little bit of a forward hinge. Another option that you have is sitting up on a prop. Simply sitting up on a prop and extending your legs out, even if you stay supported with your heels pressed into the floor, can help to relieve a little bit of the tension in the hamstrings. If you don't have a pillow or a block to sit on, the next thing that's going to help is actually walking those glutes back a little bit. Maybe you even reach your hand back and you move your glutes out, and you can still come back into a bend of your knees, but that way your belly is gently supported on your thighs, so your lower back is going to feel good, as opposed to if you just came into the stretch and your hips are still a little forward of you and you start to reach forward, and you can see right now I have just a big rounding of my back. I'm not going to get anywhere near my toes, near my ankles, but by walking those glutes back slightly and bringing my belly towards my thighs, I can easily get my hands towards my feet. Maybe it's not that easy for you, and that's okay. But there's no pressure happening here. You can even keep your hands on the floor, and this is where we're going to be for our next posture for caterpillar. Now, depending on how much of a stretch that you want, if you want to activate a little bit more of a stretch in the back of your legs and your hamstrings, you can flex your toes towards your face. If things are already feeling really tight and you're really pressing those heels into the floor, it's okay if your toes flex forward. So belly supported on our thighs. Go ahead, take 2 more breaths right here. And then slowly, gently lift yourself up. You know what? We're going to add in a little bit of a dynamic stretch right here. All right, so we're going to inhale, open those arms up nice and wide, maybe even finding a little bit of a lift in the chest, a little mini seated back bend, and then exhale, hands come down. Hands come down towards the floor, still with that lift of the chest, and then we're just gonna stretch forward. So you really have that opportunity to find that hinge. You're not coming forward and then rounding forward. Inhale up, exhale down by your side, and then forward for that little bit of a supported stretch, especially if your back feels not so great. If your back is feeling great, inhale up, exhale, then just keep that belly pulled in tight. And you can do whatever kind of forward fold's feeling good. As long as that belly is in tight, you're supporting that back. Exhale, relax arms down by your side, and then go for that little fold. Beautiful. Lift yourself up. Let's come into a little spine twist here. So go ahead, bend your right leg. You can even cross it over your left. We're going to bring our right hand behind us close to the base of our spine like a kickstand. And you're going to inhale your left arm up towards the ceiling and then exhale, relax it down towards the floor. If you want, if your mat's here, you can even grab hold of your mat as a little bit of a prop to help you out, to take you from these rounded forward chest and shoulders to really help pull on something to find a little bit more of a lift. Keep this lift in your chest, keep this openness and shoulders engaged, and slowly, gently look towards the back. Make sure you're not bringing that extra rounding to your back. Pull that belly in nice and tight. If you want to, you can even lift those fingers up if you don't find yourself collapsing forward, and reach towards your opposite hip flexor. Still finding that lift through the crown of your head, belly tight. One more big inhale. And on your exhale, slowly, gently release, no flinging. Go ahead, extend those legs out in front of you. Take a moment. You can windshield wipe. You can bop. Let's go for a little mini supported back bend. So fingers down on the floor. Inhale, lift your chest, squeeze your shoulder blades, look up. And exhale, slowly, gently release and come towards the other side. So nice and lifted. You might even already walk your hips back a little bit. Yeah, let's find a spine twist first. We're going to cross our right leg over our left. Bring your left hand behind you, close by the base of your spine. Take that rounding out of your back by really lifting up. Inhale your right arm up towards the ceiling. Wait, I'm doing the up. Jessica, sorry, y'all. I was doing the opposite. So we have our left leg crossed over our right. Our left hand behind us. Inhale, right arm up towards the ceiling, and exhale, reach it down. So already as you reach it down, you're drawing that right shoulder forward and your left shoulder back. If your mat is here, grab hold of your mat to help you find that lift in your chest. Pull that belly in nice and tight, and then use your exhale to look over your left shoulder. If you find that you don't need your fingertips as a kickstand, you can walk or wiggle them towards your opposite hip flexor. Make sure that does not bring any rounding into your back. If so, you can always bring it back down to the floor. Keep that belly pulled in. Take one more big deep inhale. And on your exhale, slowly, gently release forward. Kick that opposite leg back out. Go ahead, bob it up and down. Nice. Let's go ahead and roll on over and come into tabletop. We'll get a little bit of cat-cow right here in tabletop. So tucking your chin towards your chest, looking towards your knees, finding that big rounding of your back in cat, and then keeping those shins planted on the floor, letting your chest start to come through your forearms, looking up towards the ceiling, shoulders away from ears, big manipulation of the back, and separate your glutes, and then change. Find that separation of those shoulder blades right here, really pressing those hands, palms into the floor. Feel free to find whatever movement you want that feels good for you. Move with your breath, maybe shaking your tail a little bit left and right, right and left. Awesome. Let's take a moment and warm up that lower half. So make sure you have some nice space on your mat. We're going to go ahead and extend that right leg out behind us, bringing the ball of the foot to the floor, and then just gently pressing forwards and back, just finding a little bit of a warm up for our wrists as well. Nice work. And then find a little bit of a hold with your heel directly on top of the ball of your foot. Press the ball of the foot into the floor, press through your heel, squeeze your glutes, press your hands, palms into the floor, pull that belly in tight. Take another nice deep inhale and a big exhale. One more inhale, we're gonna lift that right leg up and cross it over our left, and then look over the left side of our body, getting a nice stretch into those obliques. Use your next inhale to lift that leg up, bring it back down, bring it in, give yourself a couple cat-cows again. Let's take just a moment, come off of our wrists for a second, just to be kind and thoughtful to anyone whose wrists might be feeling a little sore or tight. Go ahead and make some circles in one direction, in the opposite direction. Bring your hands, palms back down to the floor. Give yourself a couple more down dogs, a couple more shakes of those shoulders. And then let's go ahead, plant them on the floor, spread those fingers wide like a starfish. Get your shoulders away from your ears, pull your belly in tight and send that left leg out. Find a gentle little rocking back and forth. Once again, warming up the wrist flexors and extensors. Come into your stillness. Go ahead, press through the ball of the foot to the floor, stack your heel on top of it, stretch through your heel, engage your glutes, pull your belly in, press through your hands, palms, take a full breath right here. And then on your next inhale, we're gonna lift that left leg up and cross it over the right. Look over your right shoulder for your left leg. Still work to keep those shoulders down, seated down your spine. Take another big breath here, and then we'll use our next inhale to lift ourselves up, to bring that left leg in. Awesome. Let's take a moment. We're going to walk both of our legs out. We'll hang out in plank for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Send those hips up towards the ceiling. For down dog, you can always walk your feet in a little bit closer. You can take as generous of a bend of your knees as you want. I'm just going to check on the awesome job I did of tucking my tank top into my t-shirt for a little bit of modesty. Beautiful. And then I'm joining you right back here in down dog. So we're just pedaling our heels, walking through our feet. Remember, you can have as generous of a bend of your knees as you want. Find a warm up here that feels good for you. I like to press up all the way onto my toes. And then really work to bring your belly closer towards your thighs, to bring your biceps by your ears right here. From down dog, if it feels good for you, we're going to come into dolphin. So bending at the elbows, bringing those forearms down towards the mat. Really pressing through those elbows. So once again, make sure those shoulders aren't stretched all the way up towards your ears. Then go ahead, press through those hands, palms. Once more, back up into down dog. I know that was challenging on your shoulders, so go ahead, walk your hands up to your feet or your feet up to your hands. We'll take a moment, just hang out right here in a nice big forward fold. Bend those knees as generously as you need to. You can even shift those hips towards the back of the room. So make a nice table with your belly to support your thighs. You can see that I can lift my toes all the way up off of the floor because I have the weight in my heels, the balls of my feet right underneath are still in contact with the floor, but I don't have all the weight into my toes. If you're having some trouble with that, you can always bring more of a bend towards your knees, shifting your hips back even further behind you. The more that you bend your knees, the more that you shift your hips back. If it's feeling pretty good, if you're starting to feel nice and warm, you can start to send those hips up a little bit higher towards the ceiling, but still you have lots of weight throughout the back and middle section of your foot. If it's hard for you to reach those hands all the way down towards the floor, you can grab hold of your opposite elbow. It's going to help to open that back as well. You can gently rock side to side. Take a moment right here, shake your head. No, I can't even believe that we are more than halfway done already. Yes, Savasana is coming up shortly. All right, so let's come on down towards the floor. Let's get a couple more stretches in. Actually, well, let's stand up for a second. We have not stood up all day. So slowly, gently roll yourself up. Inhale those arms up overhead. Exhale, relax your arms down by your side. One more time, inhale those arms up overhead. Exhale, pull your belly in, swan dive down towards the floor. Inhale into a nice half lift. So find a flat back, stretch through the crown of your head. You can still have a generous bend of your knees. And then exhale back into your forward fold. Getting those hands down on the floor. We're going to bring one knee down at a time. And from here, we're going to open those shoulders. Last one on our hands, palms, then we get to sit down again. All right, so keeping your left hand palm down on the floor. Eyes are gonna follow your right hand as you inhale it up towards the ceiling, and then exhale, cross it underneath of your body. Go ahead and bring your right temple, right ear to the floor. You can even shift your hips over towards the right side. We're going to get an extra little stretch in our shoulders by inhaling that left arm up towards the ceiling and exhaling those left hand fingertips close towards our glutes. Draw them up your back. Even the side of the body, as much as feels comfortable, actually reach towards your opposite hip. That feels pretty good. And that's going to help you to stretch that elbow up towards the ceiling and to rotate your shoulder off of the floor. Oh, so good. Use that exhale to come in as deep as feels good for you. Make sure you're still enjoying some big full belly breaths. Get ready to release. Take a deep inhale, stretch that left arm up towards the ceiling. Exhale, bring that left hand down underneath of your shoulder. Press into your hand palm. Inhale, right arm up. Eyes follow hands. Exhale, right hand down towards the floor. Let's get that left side. Inhale, left arm up. Exhale, left hand comes underneath of the body, bringing that left ear, left temple to the floor. Shift the weight over to the left to give a little bit more of that shoulder on the mat. And inhale, right arm up towards the ceiling. Exhale, reach back towards that left hip to help you roll that shoulder away from the floor to stack one shoulder, ideally in the future on top of the other. Come into the stretch where you can still enjoy your breath. Let's take two more big ones right here. Awesome. Use your inhale to stretch that right arm up towards the ceiling. Exhale it down on the floor. Find some support. Press into your hands palm. Left hand stretches up. Exhale, release down towards the floor. And go ahead, shift the weight over. We're going to take a seat right now. Oh, my sore glutes. Coming up next, we got a nice little tricep stretch. So just coming back into an easy seated position of your choice. Let's start with that right hand. So inhale that right arm up towards the ceiling. Bend at the elbow. Inhale your left arm up and use your left hand palm to walk your right hand fingertips down your back. I'm going to take 2 more big breaths right here. See if you can still keep this chest lifted and open as opposed to collapsing to the floor. Pull your belly in. Great work. Gently release with your left hand. Stretch your right arm back up towards the ceiling. Exhale it down towards the floor. Inhale. Left hand up. Bend at the elbow. Reach towards your middle spine. Inhale, right hand up. And walk it down your back. Now, just depending on how tight you are, there are some days where we do a tricep stretch where it's so hard to get your chin away from your chest. I just want you to work the best that you can with the body that you have today. Find the intention of a lift right here, even if it's barely perceptible, of drawing your elbows towards the back of the room slightly to find that stretch in your tricep. Take one more deep inhale. And on your exhale, release from your right hand. Exhale that left hand back up towards the ceiling and down. Take a moment, you can shake it out. Great, we're gonna do a little half cow face. You can focus on the arms and the legs, or you can focus on just the arms. If you want to do arms and legs, whichever arm you're inhaling up towards the ceiling, that's the same leg that you're going to have on top. So I'm going to start by finding the big stretch with my left hand. So I'm crossing my left leg over my right to come into a little bit of double pigeon, or you can just stay seated in whatever your comfortable position is. If you're coming into double pigeon / fire logs, oh yeah, cow face, oh my gosh. Sorry, so confuddled. Then you're going to stack your knees one on top of the other and walk yourself out. Just do the best that you can with the body that you have today. You're going to use a strap for this one, just in case you can't bring your hands palms together. So you're going to inhale your left arm up towards the ceiling, bend at the elbow. So finding that tricep stretch that we found just a moment ago, and then opposite hand reaches behind you and gently walks up your back. See if you can get those 2 hands palms together. Then you can continue to just enjoy this stretch in your top half. If you want to find a little stretch in your hips to open them a little bit more, if you're not feeling it at all and you came into these cow face legs, find a little bit of a forward hinge. See if you can still stretch those elbows back to keep that chest open. Big, big shoulder stretch happening right here in the front shoulder. Awesome. Slowly, gently lift yourself up. Release that lower hands. Take your time. You can drop your strap. Inhale. Your top hand up towards the ceiling. Bring it down by your side. If you're going to go for cow face, let's windshield wipe our legs between sets. Awesome. And then opposite leg on top, opposite leg, opposite arm's going to reach. You can always walk your feet out. You can wiggle your feet out. For this one, I find I need to really move my glutes just a little bit. This is a big stretch into those hip flexors again. So just do what feels best for your body. We're going to use that strap, this time in the right hand, inhaling right arm up towards the ceiling, bending at that right elbow, and then walking left hand fingertips up the strap to see if you can get those fingers to touch. So keeping that chest nice and open. Take your time, use your breath. Find what feels good for you today. You can always come back again another day. Especially if you are just mindful with your body, with yourself, working within your breath. If you need to, if you're not feeling any sort of stretch in the hips, taking a gentle little forward fold. On your next inhale, sit yourself up, release that lower hand from your strap, relax your strap out of your hands, stretch your arms up. One more time to just windshield wipe those feet. Coming back into a seated position. We've just got a couple postures we're going to do before this final Savasana. I'm going to extend those legs out nice and wide. One more big stretch on the back of the legs as we come into a fist behind back. So go ahead, reach those hands behind you. We're going to take our knuckles and bring them together behind our back the best you can. So those shoulders we've already worked on, opening them up just a little bit. Having your legs separate as wide as I do right now is also challenge the balance. It's making it a little bit harder to keep my chest lifted, having my legs in front of me, maybe having one leg in front of me and then the other, maybe even coming back into that deer pose stretch like we started, makes it a little bit easier for you to be supported in this fist behind back. And then I'm just going to turn around and show you where we're going from here. If you have a little bit more within you to go from fists behind back, just bringing those knuckles together. If you can, bringing those hands, palms together. See if you can even cross your thumbs to come into reverse prayer right here. If none of that feels good for you, if you can even just bring your hands, palms together at your back, at your lower back, find what does feel good. Just hang out here in the stretch for a couple more breaths. Keep that chest lifted. Keep stretching those elbows gently back. Awesome, and change. Slowly, gently release your hands down your back. Come out of your stretch. Let's go ahead and come onto our knees. We're gonna take a big stretch of our shoulders. In child's pose, we'll get one more stretch of those triceps, and then we'll turn over on our back and be in Savasana. All right, your choice. If you wanna go for an open or wide leg child's pose, start to walk your hands in front of you as far as feels good for you today. You can even gently tempt your fingers to help you relax or release that chest a little bit closer towards your thighs, a little closer towards the singular floor, so you can feel that stretch throughout a little bit more of your back body. If that feels too much on your shoulders, simply bend your elbows, walk your hands in. You can even bring your hands all the way back and find a nice opening of the back body of the shoulders with your hands by your heels. However, if this felt good for you, if you're still feeling pretty sore in that upper body and in those triceps, go ahead, bend at the elbows. Let's find reverse prayer right here again. So this time, fingertips point down your back. Actively stretch through your elbows towards the top of the mat. Really press it down into the floor to activate the stretch within that tricep. Go ahead, extend those hands in front of you. Bring your palms down to the floor. We're going to bring our whole body forward. Find a nice big stretch of the belly. You can keep those feet nice and wide. Press into your hands, palms, squeeze your glutes. And then change. Slowly, gently take your time. Let's make our way onto our backs and we'll enjoy a nice long Savasana. If you want to grab a sip of water before you come into Savasana so you can stay relaxed here. We'll be spending about the next 3 minutes down here in complete stillness, giving Savasana the same attention, the same focus that you brought to all of the other postures in your practice today. So as your other worldly thoughts might start to creep into your mind, as your time on your mat dwindles, just remind them that you carved out this time for yourself and you'll get to them in just a couple of minutes. But for now, continuing to focus on your breath, just allowing your mat to support you as deeply as you supported yourself through this practice. Do a little scan of your body from head to toe and just notice where you might be feeling any tension. Notice if your body feels different than when you started practice, than when you woke up today. Taking this time to show up for yourself is such a beautiful thing, to make time for your physical and mental health, to fill your personal cup so you can continue to spill out your amazing energy onto others. And I know that some days it's easy to get to your mat, and some days it's a real challenge. So, whichever feelings you had today, please know that I'm proud of you. And the most important thing is that you should be proud of yourself. People who love themselves create the time for self care and exercise. Exercise is a way of telling yourself, I love me. I want to be the best version of me that I can be. I'm putting myself first. And whatever it is that you were able to do today is enough. And it's what your body was meant to do. And you just need to keep coming, feel better physically and mentally. Just show up for yourself every day. You're welcome to stay down here in this final Savasana for as long as continues to feel good. If you'd like to close out practice together, take your time, move with intention. Feel free to keep your eyes closed as we come back to a nice seated position. And as you get there, bring your hands palms together at the center of your chest. Take a moment, tuck your chin down to your chest as you honor yourself. Thank yourself for creating this time. If you have any questions or concerns, once again, my name is Jessica. I always encourage you to reach out. I'd love to hear from you. In the meantime, continue to think good thoughts, speak good words, eat good foods, and do good deeds to nourish yourself from the inside and out. I hope to see you all again soon. Go ahead, take your thumb and bring it to your third eye, your drishti, that space between your eyebrows. Start to lift your chin up towards the sky, stretching through your elbows once more. And know that the light within me sees and honors the light within you. Thank you so much for joining me in practice today. Namaste.